All right, so let's kick it off. So tell me what happened with the CSW show.
Well, I don't know how much I'm really allowed to say. Um, I was the first person that was contacted, which is weird because legally I don't have anything to do with CSW. Now, I did used to run it before I left for Afghanistan, but legally I've never had my name on any CSW stuff. So somehow the health department contacted me via my government email. Um, So I was like, oh, this is a big deal. And then they called me twice. And it's the health department, El Paso County Health Department. And at first I thought maybe it was like some kind of weird prank or something. Um, so I let the new owner of CSW know, like, hey, these people are contacting me. I told them I don't have anything to do with it. Um, they called me again the next day, and I was like, look, you're barking up the wrong tree here. Don't, you know, I can't help you. The next day after that, they called me again, and this time they gave me like all the details about the event, where it was, all that stuff, and then they called the owner.
Jeez.
So basically, he made the decision because for me and then the owner of CSW, who's Randy Rude, um, there was not going to be any blowback on us. Like the health department can't do anything to us; they don't have the power to do like fines. Um, so the where the event was going to be held was our concern, and where the event was going to be held was doing us a favor. They weren't getting anything out of it, and
Yeah.
so the owner of CSW decided basically, you know what, the health department's breathing down our neck. They're probably right. The county that we're in, El Paso County, has the second most coronavirus cases. We don't, let's shut this down. Um, we gave it a shot, but the time is just not right. And I think he made the right decision. It was a tough decision, I know, because we had a lot of stuff going into this. We had a hardcore tournament going on. We had a couple title matches. We had some new people, I think 4 new people debuting for the company. So it was going to be a really good time, a really good show, a really good spotlight. But in the end, health and safety of everyone always takes priority. And basically, what the health department said is, look, the county that you guys are in, the place you guys are in, you can't guarantee that people won't get sick. So,
Most definitely. So as far as I know, as far as to my knowledge anyway, May Massacre is still a go at the end of the month. Military Muscle and Connection, of course, puts their you guys have a chance to go ahead and score the tag team titles against Hood Extreme. What are your thoughts on that?
well, one thing about myself and Jimbo Lucas, and we've talked about this in other editions of your show, is he and I have a long, long history, over 4 years now. We started off as enemies, and then once we gained that respect for each other, we're like, you know what, we need to team up. And we've had a ton of success. Um, we main evented the induction ceremony 2 years ago at the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame down in Texas. We've main evented several other shows as a tag team. We did a Bad Boys of Wrestling show that also featured Jake the Snake Roberts and Greg the Hammer Valentine. So we've had success, but we've never held a championship. And the reason for that is Jimbo and I are singular focused wrestlers who work collectively when we need to. And what we saw in RCW was a chance to come together as a team and show a new company what people with experience can bring to the table and serve as an example. Now, unfortunately, the people that we are trying to set the example for decided to take matters in their own hands, form their own little faction, and say, we're better than you, and we're going to prove it. And I invite them to do that. I always like a challenge, but this is our first chance really to claim some championship gold. And the most recently, and it's been a while since I've actually held a championship because, of course, I came back from Afghanistan 5 months ago, I guess. The most recent gold that Jimbo held was a tag team championship. He held it with Damon Malice, who is someone I wrestled 2 shows ago at RCW. So, wrestling's kind of a circle, but.
Most definitely. So I actually had the pleasure, I guess, of having Damon Ace and Balaam Links on the show a couple weeks ago. And I asked them, will there be any involvement from you guys or Lilith Grimm in the tag team title match at May Massacre? I was given the point blank answer of they will not be getting involved because Hood Extreme has to show that they can earn their keep and live up to their name. Do you think they're going to get involved? Do you think they're actually going to stay away from this one?
Well, there's a couple different factors to that. I mean, one is Hood Extreme, for lack of a better term, has a great opportunity in joining with Damon Ace, Balaam Links, and Lilith Grimm because Hood Extreme is older than them in age. They're still young in the business. Also, they don't train with those 3. Now, those 3 are from up in Denver, and they train together. They've trained together for years. I remember several years ago, we were doing a seminar at Extreme Gym, which is a wrestling school up in Denver, and I saw Damon Ace and Balaam Links, and I was like, man, these guys are something else. I didn't even know Lilith Grimm was going to be involved as a wrestler at that point. She was just the manager. But I knew right then and there those guys had something. So it may seem cocky for them to say, well, you guys got to earn your keep. But the truth is, when you're young and you're looking to betray people, which is what Damon Ace, Balaam Links, and Lilith Grimm have done already, you got to know who you actually can trust. And they don't know if they can trust Hood Extreme. So that's one factor. The other factor is Lilith Grimm has shown that she's willing to interfere already. She interfered last time when Jimbo and I were going for the titles. And while Jimbo and I technically won that match, because it was by disqualification, we didn't win the titles. And that, of course, is why we have street fight rules this time. There are no disqualifications. So Jimbo and I, we've been training together. We've been talking every day. And I'll say this. Whether they interfere or don't interfere, we have a plan, and we have a plan to win.
Excellent. So you were actually supposed to face both of them at that CSW show in the hardcore tournament that's been postponed as of right now, in I think it was a Singapore cane match. Correct. And I was really looking forward to that. Even though the show's been postponed, what's your plan for going into a handicap match like that, a hardcore handicap match nonetheless?
Well, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. Mike Tyson said that, and I firmly believe. The situation with CSW is essentially I was not going to return to Colorado Springs Wrestling when I got back from Afghanistan because I felt I had done everything.
Yeah.
Randy Rude hired me to take care of a problem he had with a certain wrestler named Sergeant Slick, who had been holding the shows hostage. I took care of that problem, and Randy Rude wanted me to join his faction, which I said, no, I'm not a faction type of guy. And so he's put roadblock after roadblock in front of me. This hardcore tournament, I'm the only person who had to qualify for it. Everyone else was just given a shot at it. In fact, the guy I beat to qualify for the tournament got a spot in the tournament anyway. And then, of course, in the first round, he puts me in a handicap match. Now, I'm not certain of the specifics, but I believe whoever pinned someone moved on in the tournament. So my plan in a situation like that is to make those two work against each other because they both want to go on and potentially get a shot at that hardcore title. So that plays in a little bit to May Massacre as well. Those two have been, it's forced them to plan for two different scenarios. One is a tag team street fight against me and Jimbo Lucas with arguably more on the line, their RCW tag team titles, but they also had to plan to take me on solo. And the match was going to start with each one of them having a Singapore cane and me having nothing. So it's a totally different scenario. And it actually works, again, in my favor. I've been in this business now for actually this month will be 16 years. So combined, I think those two have, 4 or 5 years in the business, maybe 6 combined. So whatever their plan is, I've seen it, I've done it.
So a lot of the talent here in Colorado have been signing with a East Coast company, Elite Combat Championship Wrestling. Are we going to see Mr. Colorado make a venture out east at any point in time?
Well, and this is everyone wants to hear shoot right like behind the scenes stuff. I was in contact with them, and I was in contact with them very early, and they want to do sort of a Colorado versus Carolinas deal, and I am huge fan of Damon Ace, Balaam Lynx, Lilith Grimm, and Logan Austin. I think those are four people who are going to make huge waves in the wrestling business. They work harder than any young talent I've seen in years. They're very driven. They're very focused. But they've proven through actions in RCW, through actions in CSW, through actions in New Era that I cannot trust them. So I let the ECCW people know that. I said, guys, I am happy to come in and work for you guys. I would love to come and work for you guys. I have a lot of friends and family in the Carolinas that have never even seen me wrestle. My brother, who's active duty military, he's stationed in New Bern, South Carolina, which isn't that far from where these people are holding their show. And he's never seen me wrestle.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm happy to do it, but I'm not going to be in a faction with those guys because can't trust them.
All right. My last question for you is there's a tag team that's been affiliated with RCW since RCW began last year. That is the Voiceless Society, Tyler Watts and Nathaniel Maverick. They've kind of been making a little bit of waves, been trying to make a little bit of noise for themselves. And they shot a promo. Did you see that promo by chance?
Here's one of the issues about being I don't want to hype myself up too much, but I've been in the business a long time, and I've been here in Colorado a long time, so a lot of promos come my way. That is one that did stick out for me. And let me tell you, Watson Maverick, they have passion, they have drive, and as far as I know, they've been training pretty hard. The last time we saw them was when was it? February.
Shake-up.
Yeah, shake-up. And I think they'll be honest with you, they didn't have their strongest performance. And the reason for that is because they weren't focused. And one thing that the actions of Balaam Lynx, Lilith Grimm, Hood Extreme, and their leader Damon Ace have done is they've focused the rest of the RCW locker room in a way that we hadn't been before.
Yeah.
So I think the Voiceless Society is a potential threat on the horizon. And if they can keep that focus, keep that training, keep that dedication, they can go really, really far in RCW. But for now, Military Muscle Connection is focused on two people, Jay Zilla and Irish Extreme.
I know, and that's a match for myself that I can't wait to see. Just based on the fact that this is a no disqualification match. This is the Military Muscle Connection's time to show those two how much not only they've pissed you guys off, but how much more hungry they have made you to as a tag team. I can't wait for that, period. I'm excited about it.
I'm excited about it too, because I'm excited to whoop some butt, because I haven't had too many butts to whoop lately with this quarantine. So
yeah, I hear you. Well, Big Guns, I'd like to thank you for joining me, as always, here on Metal with Sully. I know we're doing things just a little bit differently this time around, but good, maybe a change of something is nice for once.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Thanks, Big Guns.